Hey, what's going on guys? Captain Vince here and welcome back on the channel. So today guys, I've finally moved in a few days ago, and what I wanted to do for this first video in my new home is a settings video. You guys have been requesting a settings video for quite a while now, and I think it's just the right time to do it. It's going to be a late 2019 settings video. In this video, we're going to cover overclocking, a very important topic that is often overlooked, in-game graphics, FTX, and ASCA, ENVTEX, a bunch of things. This video is aimed at giving you a strong basis to then expand on, meaning that I'm trying to aim at the middle ground, so that those of you guys with lower end settings systems can tweak the settings according to your needs, and you guys with higher end settings can push them to their limits. Now, I don't pretend to be an expert of any kind. I just gather my knowledge through experience and trying different things. So take that as it comes. Other than that, what can I say? You can expect a lot of videos coming in the near future, live streams as well. I'm currently setting up the live stream, so I think that's going to be quite interesting. It's going to be on YouTube, and so we'll see how it goes. I hope you enjoy, guys. Again, if you do, leave a like, subscribe if you're new, and let's get this show started, shall we? See you guys. Alright guys, let's get started with MSI Afterburner. First things first, go to your settings and make sure unlock voltage control and monitoring are both ticked. This will enable you to increase the core voltage, the power limit, and the temperature limit, which is the next step that you want to do. Click apply, and already this will give the scanner much more leeway to improve your performances. Then click on the small icon that you just saw, and click top right corner on OC scanner. Then you want to run the scan. The scan should run for around 10 to 15 minutes. It depends. Once this is done, you want to test. So directly after the scan is complete, test it. The test should run for around 5 minutes, and what you're looking for is a confidence level of 90% or more. Honestly, you could try running your settings with less than 90%, but 90% is what I recommend. Then you'll see a curve next to core clock. You want to directly apply the settings and save the profile. And you can increase your memory clock by 500 to 600. When it comes to CPU overclocking, the process you should follow is to overclock your CPU through the BIOS. This is the initial screen that you can access upon booting up your PC. So you should follow the different guides that are on the internet, but to give you an idea, my core speed for my i7-9700K is at 5 gigahertz, and the core voltage is at 1.368, so 1.365. This is obviously controlled through the BIOS, and there are various guides out there to show you how to do this. You should also monitor your temperatures, and I do this through core temp, which gives me the temperature of each of my cores, and basically it gives you an idea of if you've been overclocking too much and when to reduce the clock to have safer and better temperatures. Alright, so let's take a look at the in-game settings now. For the display tab, FXAA is turned off, anti-aliasing to 8 times MSAA, texture filtering anisotropic 16 times, texture resolution, either high or ultra, it's your choice. I have a 1440p monitor, so ultra I think gives you that little edge over high, but definitely if you have a 1080p monitor, don't bother, just set it to high and it's going to look great. Then the frame rate controls, very important, VSync on, triple buffering on, and the target frame rate in the game should be set at unlimited. We will control the frame rate ourselves with an external software, and I will show you this just at the end of the video. Taking a look at the world settings, here are my choices. So for the terrain, you can copy everything, although tessellation factor can be set to high as well. If you have a lower end system, untick the high resolution terrain textures. Other than that, leave the rest as it is. As for scenery objects, my testing has shown me that the setting that has the most impact on your FPS is the autogen draw distance. Right now I have mine on high. I wouldn't go any higher than this, and I would recommend, if you have a lower end system, to have it on medium. This does a tremendous lot to improve your performance. Even myself, when I fly in very dense urban areas, I do tend to turn it down to medium. As for the water, I have mine on medium. If you like to see the water moving, if you really care about the water, definitely go for high or ultra. I don't care that much myself, so that's why I leave it on medium. And then the reflections, I only take the cloud. I think it looks nice on the water, albeit it's a bit unrealistic sometimes. Special effects, leave that on high. The sim doesn't often use special effects. When it does, it's very nice to look at. If you've listened until the end, I want to thank you for your time today. I truly hope this guide will have enabled the majority of you to obtain better performances without sacrificing the quality of your sim. Please consider liking the video and subscribing if you are new. This has been Captain Vince. Bye-bye. Now, just a quick word about shadows. If you have a good system and want to drastically improve the quality of the shadows, the resolution of the shadows, you might want to go into your P3D CFG file, which is located in the app data folder. And you want to look for opaque shadow texture size. And by default, it should be something like 512 or 1024. But if you have a good system and want to really enjoy nice looking shadows, set it to 4096, so 4096, that should be the resolution you're looking for. Alright, so the weather now, the cloud draw distance, set that to the minimum, 60 miles, because this is going to be actually controlled by active sky, and the coverage density needs to be at maximum. And then the rest, as you see it on the screen right now. This time I also thought well to include the realism settings. So here they are, pretty much everything set to maximum, except a few boxes that are unticked, and I do recommend you follow my lead on this one. Now let's talk about Active Sky for P3D version 4. The first thing we want to modify is the download interval. The default value is set at 15 minutes. I like mine to be either at 10 or even at 5 minutes, so I get a very up-to-date weather rendering. Then you want to set the minimum cloud draw distance at 60 and the maximum cloud draw distance at 100. I find that these settings give you the best realism and performance ratio. So you get clouds that you can see very far away, especially when you are at cruise altitude, while when you are on the ground, you don't need clouds to be generated further than 60 miles away. I hope you understand what I mean, and this is just to save you guys the most performance as possible. Finally, a crucial setting you must change in order to get better performance is the maximum cloud layers value. By default, this is set to 5. 5 is quite high. I turn mine down to 3. I think 3 is the sweet spot. 2 is alright, but you will start experiencing some weird visuals. I think 3 cloud layers is totally fine and represents reality in a very good way, and especially a good balance again between quality and performance. Alright guys, now taking a look at ENVTEX. First things first, ASCA integration. Turn that on, it's very important for us. We will make use of that feature. Also, link your ASCA folder to ENVTEX. You can direct it just below with the browse feature. Then the settings themselves, I will not go through all of them, but this is what I use. I think it's really the best balance between performance and quality, and these impact your in-game experience a lot. So this is what I recommend. Of course, you can fine-tune it to your own preference, but this should give you a good starting point. Now let's take a look at the presets for ENVTEX. The first tab is the Sky tab, and since we're using ASCA integration, this is rendered completely useless. Reason is that the sky textures will be controlled now from ASCA, so Active Sky Cloud Art, and not ENVTEX. So the only very important thing we want to do is set the set number 2 for the sky. This means that ASCA will only use ENVTEX sky textures, which according to me are much better looking than what ASCA provides. Alright, taking a look at the clouds. For the Cumulus, I have set number 1, the Cirrus set number 1, and Cumulus for ASCA set number 1 as well. Now on to the next page. The Sun is set to the set number 3. The Sun Flare is the first set, then the Moon the first set as well. The Auroras randomly visible, and the Milky Way set to discrete. If not, it's a bit too much. Then on to the water textures. The water is at set number 4. The inland water set 1 photoreal, ocean water set 1 photoreal, and tropical water set 1 photoreal. If your in-game water settings are set lower than ultra, I do recommend you use photoreal, because photoreal kind of paints waves above the water texture. So from high up it looks so much better, and unless you do have your water on ultra, that's what I recommend you do. The ground looks as such. The grass normal set number 2, then the hard runways and taxiways set 1, other runways set 1, and airport signs set 1. Finally, special effects, set 1 for the contrails, normal photoreal, that's the name of the set. Then various effects, I have it on set 1 intense, lighting set 1, and environmental map set 2. Now we're taking a look at Active Sky Cloud Art, and why this is important, it's because it kind of collaborates with ENVTEX to produce an amazing result. So what you need to do first of all is choose the full dynamics mode, not global automatic, full dynamics. That's very important. There's a few reasons for that, but I won't go too much in depth. If you have any questions, don't hesitate. So full dynamics, and now let's take a look at the settings. So here are the settings I myself recommend. Cirrus and cloud textures to balanced, so right in the middle. The full dynamics overcast, I tend to like it a bit lower than in the middle. That eats a lot of performance, especially from your graphics card, so that's where I recommend you to put it. And the overcast models, honestly, put that on performance. Overcast doesn't need to be high quality, it just needs to be there pretty much. And this also is very GPU intensive. Now for enabled content, that's where it's very important. You tick exactly the boxes I ticked, especially if you have ENVTEX. The sky colors ticked, Cirrus ticked. I want to use the ASCA Cirrus and not the ENVTEX Cirrus. That's my own personal preference. Then cloud structures ticked and cloud textures unticked, because the cloud textures are generated by ENVTEX. Make sure to save and apply, and you're good to go. Taking a look at the FTX global vector settings, here are the settings that I think work very well. Highways, primary roads, and secondary roads. I'll let you tick the boxes you want, and this is just what I recommend. And I do enable railways as well, except for the bridges. Very important, make sure to untick frozen surface. It looks atrocious. It's not well implemented within the simulator, so don't tick frozen surfaces. Finally, beaches are ticked. Parks and power lines, this is more if you fly a lot of VFR, which I don't do quite often, so it's up to you. Many of you often ask me if I have a trick to reduce as much as I can the stutters in-game, and I do actually. It's quite easy. The trick is to install Nvidia Inspector. The link will be in the description down below. And once this is done, you search for prepared for the prepared profile, and then the only thing that kind of works is to set a frame rate limiter. I've set mine to 40 because I think I can sustain a stable 40 FPS, but some of you might want to set that to 30. And what this will do is basically limit the FPS in-game, but from an external source, and it's much smoother than the in-game FPS limiter. It basically, what it does is the game always tries to go for full unlimited frame rates, and this little software in the back says, hey, you gotta stop at 40. So you have the full potential unleashed by the simulator to get the max frame rates, and this kind of referee who says to stop at 40 FPS. And this play between the both of these programs make for a very stable and smooth experience. So you can set yours at 30 if you'd like. Unfortunately, vertical sync control via Inspector doesn't work anymore, so don't bother with that. Frame rate limiter basically does the same job very well. If you've listened until the end, I want to thank you for your time today. I truly hope this guide will have enabled the majority of you to obtain better performances without sacrificing the quality of your sim. Please consider liking the video and subscribing if you are new. This has been Captain Vince. Bye bye.